Hello there, folks. Hey, this is Joe Wazoo here. Hey, this video is going out to my buddy Joseph, who asked for a little help on an idea, and I thought I'd make a public video for everybody to see. So Joseph's got an application where he wants to log some values every day at 5 a.m. And he wants those to go into one CSV file for the whole year. And so normally I would direct you to our DataLogger, and I would have you set up something here. But given that he wants to log once a day and have it all go into one file, there's no way that I figured out to configure this correctly, either as a continuous sample or as a triggered snapshot to make this happen. I was trying around and there's just no way that I could figure out how to do this. So instead, what I did is I wrote a very simple program that creates a file on the SD memory card, and then it logs to that file those values every time I call the program. So let me talk about the program first. If I go over here, I got a program called log when called. And if I go through it, I'm not going to go through it all in this video. If you want a copy of the program, just send me a note. I'll email it to you. But anyway, the first thing I do is I set up some internal variables here. And then I'm declaring a path of where I want the file and the name of the file. Now, I put in here some notes because you might be doing this on an HMI or you might be doing this on a Flex Edge. So you kind of got to declare a letter nomenclature for whether it's going to go to the SD card on an HMI or if it's going to go to a micro SD card on a Flex Edge. So I got that declared in this section. The letter C on an HMI would be the local drive. So I'm going to create a directory called daily logs, and then inside there is going to be a file called DI water daily, and then it's going to be a .csv. Okay, so that's what I'm doing there. Then the next part that's important right here is I'm going to create a new folder on the card. If it doesn't exist, I'm going to go ahead and create a new directory with that path, which is right here. And then right after I do that, I'm going to create a new file name in that directory as well, create a new file in there as well. All right, so then after that, if I come down a little further, the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to open that file, use the command open file. And then if I'm successfully able to open the file, and it's the first time that I've written or interacted with the file, I'm going to write a header right here. Notice I said if it's the first time, because I want this to be the header, and then every entry after that. So every time I call this after it's already been set up, I don't want to call that every time. I'm going to go ahead and write to the file my tags. Now, if you notice here, team, I'm using a function called asText and then the name of the tag in here. Now, I'm using that because the tags I'm going to log, in this case, are just integers, and I'm just creating random numbers. That's all they are. So the asText will create that, convert it from an integer or a real number, and put it as a text ASCII code. That's what I need. And then when I'm done with all this, the last thing I'm going to do is close the file so that I don't have it open and I can reuse it later, look at it. So in this program, I'm also putting the date and the timestamp. So I have over here a couple pre-built functions. These are very common, by the way. You'll see these in lots of programs I do. I have a program here called get the current date, which is right here. And this returns the date in whatever format you want. But in this case, it's returning month, day, and year. You can doctor that any way you want. I should, anyway, switch that any way you want. And then over here, I've got the string for the current time, hours, minutes, and seconds. So, and then on this data tags, I have in data tags some tags. Where right here, right here. So I got some tags that just call them. These are strings. Notice, team, the letters A, B. Those are string tags. Anyway, let's go ahead and try this. Oh, wait, one more thing. I said 5 a.m. Okay, so Redline's devices all have a real-time clock in them, and hopefully your clock is up to date and your battery is good in the HMI product or whatever. But if it's not, you can always go to the link pull down, and you can send time, and that'll send the time to the unit. Make sure it's updated with your laptop. Anyway, Over here in data tags, I have apparently spelled this folder wrong. Let me fix this real quick here. There we go. All right. So I have a folder here of current time. Let me download that fix there real quick. All right. So in here, look, I have 3 integer tags, one called hour, one called minute, and one called seconds. Notice, team, they're all yellow. They're yellow because they are simply a formula tag that gets the current hour, the current minute, and the current seconds. You can find all of these functions over in the lower right-hand side of Crimson in System, expand the functions tree, and then expand the time, and it shows the functions right here and so forth. But what it doesn't tell you is that if you want to get the current time, you got to use the function get seconds, get minute, or get sec, get minute, or get min, get hour, and then in parentheses, you got to put get now, open, close parentheses, and that's going to make it execute. So, for instance, get hour, this is going to be a military time 0 to 23. So if I go to format, I guess I didn't do that. Well, anyway, it's 0 to 23. This would be 0 to 59 in seconds. Those are the internal tags. All right. Now, if I collapse that, I wanted in this application a way for me to be able to enter the times here. So I have 3 tags here. Notice, team, they're blue in this trigger log. That means they're internal. But I set them all up to retentive. And I call it hour trigger, hour minute, and hour trigger, minute trigger, and seconds trigger. If I look at the hour trigger, for instance, slide up here at the top. If I go to the format tab, notice here I got it limited to 0 to 23 because it's going to be military time. If I go to the minute, it's 0 to 59. And then if I go to seconds, 0 to 59. That, 60 seconds in a minute. So that's how that works. If you don't declare these, your operator can put in numbers that are wrong and you'll be wondering what the heck happened. Anyway, so then if I go down here to log time, let me look at this guy. So notice log time is yellow, okay? And I have here on the data tab, it says complex, it says only on if the time matches the triggers. All right, so let me hit the edit button and show you here. So if you look at this code right here, team, look at this code. Basically, I have a 3-step complex if statement. And I say 3-step complex because if you notice, there's an open parenthesis here, and there's an extra one hanging out here at the end. I can't really make this bigger. Can I? Well, I collapsed it, but you could have. It's all in one line. Anyway, so I'm asking the current time, if it equals the hour trigger. Notice the dual equal signs. That means you're asking the question. If you put a single equal sign, you're assigning. That's not what you want to do. You want to ask the question, does the current hour equal the hour trigger? Okay, if it does, then does the current minute equal the minute trigger? Does it equal the current minute? And then the last one, does the current seconds equal the seconds trigger? If this is all true, it's going to return a 1. If not, 0. Okay, so that's the triggering. Now, I also added here for our test a manual test. So on the manual test here, well, let me go back to this guy. So if this is true, this one here, if I go to the trigger tab, notice something. When it's on, I simply went over here to the right and I grabbed this program and put it right here. Boom, that's going to do that. Now, in this database I have here, team, I have some debug flags that I added into the code that kind of let me look in the code where I'm at. These are these little flag tags that are in here, like this guy. There's a little flag tag. I just did that so I could see where I'm at in the code. So if I go back to this, down here, active off, I basically turn all those off. That's all. You don't need that crap. But for what I'm doing for testing, I threw that in here just to see it. And then manual test does exactly the same thing. Notice, team, if I click on manual test and if I click on log time, notice that the triggers are the same for both. Got it? All right, let's take a look at this, see if it works. Oh, one more thing. Because this log file is going to be our own thing, that means that the web server is not going to show you that like you could normally see data log files. So I got a creative idea here. And Joseph, I hope you watch this because this is something important for you. In order to see the file, you You got to use FTP, but I tried something interesting. I went over here to the right in primitives, went into the category called system primitives, and the second row from the top, the left-hand column, is the file viewer. So I dragged that dude out here, and I double-clicked on it, and I want you to see something. If I go to the Options tab here, I'm looking in the DataLogger directory here. That's the root directory. I probably should have put a C there. But anyway, that's the root directory. So this is going to show us what's on the card without using the FTP, I think. And I got it set up to show us the CSV file. I just changed the background to yellow here just so I can see it on my white background page. All right, let me click the OK button. Let's go ahead and see this. I don't think I made any changes, but if I did, I better download. Let's see. I guess I changed something. I don't know what I changed. All right, so let's go ahead and try this. I got the web server open right here. Okay, so here it is. Now notice right now, team, it says no files in directory. Also, I'm using core FTP also to look at the card. So if I log into this thing via core FTP, let's look here. Notice the drives right here. I don't see a directory. This is the C drive. It doesn't show it, but I think this is the C drive. So let's go ahead and try this out. So if I click this button here, and also here's that file viewer. So if I hit the scan button, there's nothing there. So let's go ahead and manually trigger it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Turn this on. Okay, so now if I hit the scan button, hey, look, it put in the header. Now this is a comma separated file, so this doesn't line up here, but I guarantee you, if you extracted this into Excel, it will. So if I turn it off, there you can see there's a header and there's the first entry. If I go turn it on again, bam, look at that. I'm just manually doing it right now, so don't freak out. There you see it working great. Okay. Now, what if I want to use this timer thing? Now, right now, it apparently is 4 p.m., so it's 1600 hour, 39:14. Let's say, team, let me make this 1600 here. Put in 16 there. And we're at the 39. We'll put in 39 here. And let's put it, say, 45 seconds. I want to make a log. All right. Let's leave that alone. I didn't test this before the video, so I might crash and burn, but let's just see what happens here. So when it hits 45, I'm looking to see if this goes up and see if we get an entry here. I didn't test this, so I could look like an idiot, but let's see. We're getting close. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, booyah! Take that to the bank. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Now, if I leave this alone every day at 4:39, 45 seconds, it's going to do that forever and ever and ever. That is so cool. I tell you, take that to the bank. Anyway, that's pretty cool. If you want to copy this database, send me a note. You want the G0993 log once a day at 5 a.m. for a year. Of course, it's not 5 a.m., but hey, if it wanted to be 5 a.m., what would you do? Well, you'd go here, you put in, I think you'd put in 5 o'clock here, and you put in 0 here, and 0 here, and that's it. That's it. Yep. That's about all I got for you. Thanks a lot, team. Have a great day. We'll see you later.